All right, here we have a couple. I think we go to a couple quick questions here, but there are people who are asking good questions over here. So this is from Ronald Weinberg. How did the authors of the gospel learn that Jesus had a virgin birth? Why did he never mention this to the Sanhedrin and the Romans that he had a virgin birth? Seems man-made. I'm just going to.
You thought that was a good question?
No, it's
thought that was
a good question in terms of if someone just has no idea, then it makes sense to ask the question and give an answer. Sam, you can respond however you want. I'm just going to quote the opening verses of the Gospel of Luke.
Yeah.
Luke. So Luke wrote a gospel and the book of Acts, and here's how he starts off his gospel. He writes, "Inasmuch as many have undertaken to compile an account of the things accomplished among us, just as they were handed down to us by those who from the beginning were eyewitnesses and servants of the word, it seemed fitting for me as well, having investigated everything carefully from the beginning, to write it out for you in consecutive order, most excellent Theophilus." What does Luke say? He says, hey, when I'm writing about things, I'm going to the eyewitnesses. He says he's going to the eyewitnesses. What does Luke write about? Writes about the virgin birth. Yeah. So sure. Where would he have gotten this information, Sam?
Yeah, in fact, that's what I was going to tell you. As you turn there and you read it, I want to also comment. Go to Acts 21, read 18, David, all the way to 26. Acts 21, 18 to 26. Here you're going to get your answer where Luke would have been getting his information. But now before you do read it. Notice what he's saying. Why did Jesus never mention the Sanhedrin Romans? Why would he? I mean, you think about it. Here are people who are unbelievers who have condemned him to die, and you want Jesus to say, oh, by the way, not only am I God, but my mommy gave birth to me while she was a virgin. Is that really a serious? That's why I was laughing. Mm-hmm. I don't mean to mock the person, but seriously, why would Jesus, in the presence of his enemies, say, hey, guys, I know you hate my guts. You already think that I'm a blasphemer for claiming to be the unique divine Son of God, and you're about to condemn me to die. I just want to mention, though, maybe this will convince you. You know I was born of a virgin? Will that convince you? Why would he even want to talk about his virgin birth? Mm-hmm. What relevance does that have to do with the mission of Christ? Now, with that said, where do we get this information that Jesus was conceived to and born from a virgin? Luke himself tells us that one of the eyewitnesses that he would have interviewed, because he met him, is James, the Lord's brother. If you go to Acts 21, read 18 to 26.
And the following day, Paul went in with us to James. Notice the us there.
With us, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the following day, Paul went in with us to James, and all the elders were present. After we had greeted them, he began to relate one by one the things which God had done among the Gentiles through his ministry. And when they heard it, they began glorifying God. And they said
now
to him...
Now you can stop there, David. Mm-hmm. Now watch there. Okay. Luke says, I was there, accompanying Paul, when we met James. And you don't need to guess which James, because James, the brother of John, was already killed off in Acts 12. If you go to Acts 12, 1 and 2, it says Herod killed him. Mm-hmm. So it's not James, the brother of John, the sons of Zebedee. Mm-hmm. It's James, the brother of Christ. And he says, I was there and I met him. Mm-hmm. So here is one of the sources for Luke. And who better than James to know whether his beloved mother conceived Jesus Christ as a virgin or that Jesus was the progeny of Joseph. So here you have the sources from which we get this information on the life of Christ. It's based on those who knew Jesus and knew his family, let alone the possibility that he even interviewed Mary, because we have no indication that Mary had died at the time of the composition of the book of Acts. In fact, Luke does mention in Acts 1:14 that Jesus' mother Mary was there with his brothers waiting for Jesus to pour out the Holy Spirit on his beloved mother and his brothers. Acts 1:14. So you can make a strong case that if Mary was alive, Luke would have interviewed her. At the very least, he interviewed James, the Lord's brother.
And given what we read in John about behold your mother, seems like, and in Acts chapter 1, seems like she would have been living in the Christian community that Luke repeatedly visits here. So hope that answers your question. Of course, if you want to say sounds like it's something that someone just made up, Well, of course, people can make things up, and you don't want to believe just anything. But the real basis for rejecting this would be some sort of maybe an anti-supernatural bias, where we just don't want to believe in the virgin birth. So it sounds like something is made up. But Luke is claiming that he went to eyewitnesses for his information, and he is one of the people who's telling us about the virgin birth, and he knew at least Jesus' brothers. So hope that answered your question.